Yo, yo.
All right. Welcome, guys, to the second episode of the BeatLance podcast with K and B. We want to thank you all for the support on the first episode. I think it's at about 150 views right now in about a week, which is a good amount for a first episode.
Like
Uh,
157. Yeah.
yeah. And well, a lot of those views came like within the first 24 hours. So I want to really thank you all for the support on that.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So in this episode, we have a very special topic. It's most likely the best topic we're going to do for a while until we do Kanye West. But this topic is actually 2020. So 2020 as a whole has been very diverse. There's been a lot of new artists introduced to the game. There has been a lot of old artists releasing good albums, good projects, good mixtapes. So it's been pretty crazy so far. So in this episode, we're dedicating our opinions on 2020 as a whole. So 2020 as a whole consists of best single, best artist, best project, and then at the very end, me and Burden will have our top five albums for the year 2020.
All right. So to start it off, we'll do it. We start our best with our best artist of 2020.
Yeah.
Mine, for me, best artist of 2020 has to be Lil Baby. Lil Baby been on like a Lil Wayne back in his prime type run right now. When Lonzo said that, I kind of agreed with it because the singles he been putting out have been like top tiers, like some of the best music he ever put out. And then he dropped My Turn, which is on. I'll spoiler alert, it's on my top five of the year. Um, and then on My Turn, he had other songs on there besides the singles that he dropped that have a lot of replay value. And then after that, he dropped the deluxe version of My Turn, which have
Yeah.
other songs on there. That's pretty good. So that'll be my artist of the year so far.
I'm going to have to say Lil Uzi Vert.
Mhm.
Lil Uzi Vert has had a hell of a year so far. It's honestly his year. And it's so crazy, like how everyone thought he was on top of 2020. And then a few months later, after he dropped like one of the best albums of 2020, spoiler alert, it's on my list too. He did not even get nominated for a BET award.
I saw,
Travis Scott, Future,
yeah,
The
Travis
Baby.
Scott. Yeah, like Travis Scott didn't even drop like a solo album this year. I don't understand that. The Baby, like Lil Uzi, definitely deserved to be up there. I don't
It
know
was
how.
Uzi's, yeah. I don't know how. I mean, of course, Drake is on it. Drake is on it like every year since like
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of
you
expected
know
that
it's long
with
now.
Drake.
Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, so of course mine is Lil Uzi Vert. So, everybody was very anticipated when it came to his album this year, Eternal Take. So Eternal Take has undoubtedly been one of the best albums of 2020 so far. Then a week after releasing Eternal Take, he dropped a deluxe album, which is also Lil Uzi Vert versus the World too. So of course it's definitely between Lil Baby and Lil Uzi Vert, but that's a pretty hard one. So most likely we'll do a poll about it where we ask you guys. Stay tuned for that.
All right. So next we will do best single of the year. Um, Even though I do have Lil Baby for my best artist, I don't have the bigger picture as my best single. Even though I do like that song and I like the message of that song, I have the Scots with
Kid Cudi and
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott.
Yeah, Kid Cudi and Travis Scott. Um, that single has me pretty excited for their collab tape whenever they decide to release it. I know they've
It
been
gives you
talking about.
Kanye. It gives you Kanye and Kid Cudi vibes at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Because
It definitely sounds something you would hear on Kids See Ghost or something like that.
because
So
Travis is a son to Kanye, so it really
right,
does make
right.
sense.
Yeah, I would expect that. Uh,
Yeah.
so the Scots will be my best single of the year. It's definitely been my favorite single.
Okay, so my best single of the year, or my favorite single of the year, it's not Myron, but it's
Mhm.
actually Lo Mein. Lo Mein go
Uh,
hard, dog.
yeah.
Lo
Low
Mein
man.
go hard.
Yeah. I'll show some of my love for Eternal Take later on.
Yeah.
But that like I like almost every song. Well,
Every single
I do like
song of
I like every
2022.
single song out there. I
Yep.
can't pick a favorite, so I couldn't pick one for like best single.
It was
But
very hard for me to pick Low Man.
yeah. Like that song. I mean, that album has some of my best, like some of my favorite songs from Uzi on there, just
For
because of
sure,
how
for
good it
sure.
is. So mhm. We'll do the top 5 albums, and then we'll have that lead into our favorite albums of the year. So I'll start out with my number 5 for
Yeah,
top five
yeah.
albums. My number 5 would be After Hours from The Weeknd. I've been a The Weeknd fan for a while, but this is the first time I've been a fan of him, and he's dropped like a full length album while I've been like a full time fan of him.
Yeah.
So I was really excited for this, and it didn't disappoint. It has some of my most played songs of the year on there, on such like Faith, I like Faith, and Heartless and Blinding Lights. Those two singles before he dropped the album was pretty good, and then a few of the songs on there have a lot of replay value. So I definitely put that as my number 5 of the year so far.
Okay, so my number 5 album of the year would definitely have to go to Don Toliver for Heaven or Hell.
Mm.
It's his debut album, and it's also his debut studio album. So it's for a debut, it's pretty good. Like
Mm.
I honestly see myself saying that Don Toliver is almost like a baby T-Pain, like a T-Pain in the making.
Yeah. I get that type of vibe.
Like his main style is using auto-tune, but
Mm.
he's perfected it in an art where like songs like Cardigan and No Idea and like After Party, like it'll put you in a psychedelic trance. Like
Mm.
his voice on it is almost angelic in a way where like I can't even explain it. That's why he made number 5, honestly. That's just why he made
Right,
number
right.
5.
So my number 4 would be The Simulation by KSI. Now, I know that sounds weird having a KSI album in your top 5 albums of the year so far, but if some people would take the time out and listen to it, like it sounds like a regular studio album from somebody that would just be like just another rapper in the industry, and it has like pretty good production, it's like high grade production, um, and it was a surprise for me because even though I have been like a fan of KSI before he started doing music, I didn't expect this album to sound this good. It definitely is better than some other like albums that I've heard to come out recently. That I want to put them of The Simulation because it's a pretty good album, like straight through.
Okay, so my number 4 album, in similarity to Burden, is actually After Hours by The Weeknd. The Weeknd is a pretty good artist. Yeah, The Weeknd, it's his fourth studio album. Like every single song on The Weeknd's album was good, even though it's different. It's not rap. It's more
Mm,
like
right.
a pop soul type of vibe.
Yeah, it's like pop R&B with like the electro type vibes. Like I know what you mean.
But in similarity to like Don Toliver's songs like Blinding Lights and like Heartless, like the beat on those songs like go crazy at the same time, but it get to like in a trance
Right,
almost like
exactly.
Don Toliver's album. So like
Mm,
the little use of auto tune, it really gave that album like a, let's say, advantage over other albums from this year.
mm-hmm.
So definitely The Weeknd, he would be my number 4 spot.
Number 4. Okay, cool. All right, so number
Oh, I
3.
forgot to
Oh,
mention,
mm,
if anybody has ever watched The Weeknd's like song music videos on YouTube, like I don't know if anybody knows, but his suit was inspired by the Joker from the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie,
oh
like the
yeah.
all red suit.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I didn't realize that. That
And
makes
it
sense.
was also inspired by Adam Sandler's character from Uncut Gems. Like if
Oh
you
yeah,
like yeah,
yeah.
he has like an addiction in the music video. So like you can
Yeah.
see the resemblance between Joaquin Phoenix's the Joker and also Adam Sandler's character from Uncut Gems. So
mhm,
it was pretty good. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So for number 3, I got My Turn from Lil Baby. Um, when this album first came out, I wasn't like a big fan of it. It was cool to me, but I didn't think it was a whole lot. And then it was like I remember there was like a dead period when nothing was dropping, so I decided to listen to it again, and I
Yeah,
realized
yeah.
how good it really is. Um, because usually I just listen to like the singles you drop before, but then when I started listening to the actual songs on there, it really I felt like I missed out on a good album when it first came out. But and plus the deluxe version is pretty good too. So yeah, that's a number three lock for me.
Okay, so my number three would definitely be Slime and Beat. I mentioned it in our first episode how much I actually like the album. So I'm sorry that it's not actually an album. I think I said that in the last episode, but I wasn't sure if it was an album. It originally dropped as a mixtape, but I wasn't sure if they changed it. But I'm gonna put it for my number three just because there are no rules.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's Chris Brown's and Young Thug's first official mixtape together, or even joint collab or album, whatever you want to call it. It's their
Mhm.
first project together. And for their first project together, I think it's pretty good. They lived up to the expectations that they gave people on High End, featuring him and Future, well, Young Thug and Future. So honestly, I can see the collaboration happening again, but it was a birthday present from Young Thug to Chris Brown to actually do a collab mixtape with him. So that was pretty cool.
Mm.
His
Oh,
birthday was
that's
like
good.
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. So number two, um, is actually Heaven or Hell from Dawn, all by higher than Kareem on his list. I like I like almost every song of this album. I don't think there's a song on here that I listened to and I haven't listened to it multiple times again. And then I remember the first time I heard Hot Enough when it was on the Jock Boys album. I was like, that helped build up anticipation for me when this album actually came out. And I think it came out either around the same time or at least the same day as Eternal Take. And it took me a while to actually to get it because I was
Yeah.
so hyped for Eternal Take.
I
But
think it was the same day.
yeah, so when I actually got around to listening to it, I'm glad that it was one of my favorites at that time, and it's still one of my favorites right now.
So my number two album would have to be My Turn from Lil Baby. So My Turn actually went gold in less than 3 weeks. That's pretty amazing. For everybody who does not know, gold means 500,000 records in the RIAA terms. So that's a certification company, and they determine whether albums and songs go platinum for majority of the releases in the United States. So it actually went gold, and eventually it became platinum a few weeks later. But to go gold in 3 weeks definitely says something. That actually means people were buying your album and not actually like just streaming it.
Right,
So
right,
that's
because it's
pretty good in terms of him. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's pretty good. It's the second studio album from Lil Baby, so it's pretty good. It was the last album. Well, since Street Gossip, this is the first album he has released. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Streak also came out, and I think that was late 2018.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So my turn was definitely a big step up from Street Gossip. So I agree with that. But my number one album, and I feel like this might be the only choice on anybody's top five albums of the year, is Eternal Take. Album is
Yeah.
perfect. The album
Yeah.
is. I could talk about this album all day. Like the stuff, like even if you aren't a fan of Uzi,
Let
and
me interrupt you. I listen to the album every day.
yeah, exactly. There's not a day that's gone by since the album came out, and I haven't listened to at least one or two songs from it. It's a perfect album. It actually might go down as like one of the best albums of like the past, like the most recent years, to be honest.
So, of course, I'm going to have the same number one as Burden with Lil Uzi Vert's Eternal Take.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Eternal Take slash Lil Uzi Vert versus the World 2
Mm-hmm.
because it's almost the same album, but
Mm-hmm.
Eternal Take was the original album. And really and truly, the deluxe version is just a bunch of snippets actually turned into songs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's pretty evident. Like the most famous ones are Myron and Purple, or like
Mm-hmm.
Kobe. Most people know it as.
Right.
So it's mostly like unreleased snippets and a few like extra songs.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, but definitely I listen to the album every day, the deluxe album. But I would say my favorite between the two is actually the original album. I can
Yeah.
listen to all two without skipping any songs, but the original is definitely better because you start off with Baby Pluto, then you go to Lo Mein, then you go to
Hmm.
Silly Watch. Like those three songs are almost comparable to like whenever Kanye or Jay-Z does like a first three intro songs and it's usually
Yeah,
like
and
the best
I know
selling
that was,
songs of the album. Yeah. So we
um,
definitely matched on that one.
yeah,
It was
definitely.
coming though.
I actually, when I first made my top five albums of the year list, I actually had Lil Uzi Vert vs. The World 2 as number two. So I had both on my
I was
list, but
gonna do that as well. Yeah.
yeah, but I was like, I wanted to show some appreciation for some of the other albums that came out this year, and it probably wouldn't have been fair, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
I did that
no,
same thing honestly. So
but there are a few other albums that I want to mention that wasn't on my list that I thought about.
you
Besides,
can't do a top five or a top 10 without having honorable mentions, eh?
exactly. So, besides Lil Uzi Vert vs. The World 2, one of the albums was 31520. It was by Charles Gambino.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't really get that much attention from what I was seeing. I don't know what's the certification on it right now. I haven't checked it recently, but um, there is a specific single on there that keeps me coming back to the whole album. It's one with 21 Savage and a couple other features that I can't remember the name of. But I think the name of the song is 1238. Um, it's a pretty good song. It's probably the best song off the album. And then he has a single on there that he released before, so that's one of my honorable.
I'm surprised Britain didn't have it, but it's actually gonna be Future's album High Off Life.
Oh, I know I didn't
I
have that. I have other ones, but I didn't have that. I'm not gonna lie.
okay, so I'm personally not a fan of the album, but I do know in the terms of the community,
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty well done in everybody's eyes.
It
I personally wasn't like a huge fan of it.
was
It
cool
was
to
all
me.
right. It was cool, but I'm just gonna put it there because a lot of people might say like, why don't you have it in your top five? Because he's
Mm-hmm.
Future, but
Yeah.
it's all right. Future's
Um.
cool. Future's cool.
Yeah. Future's cool. That album. It kind of. The first time I listened to it, I was a fan of it, and then I listened to it again, and I was like, it might be a couple songs off of it. Like, there's nothing like crazy. It ain't up to like Future's prime standard. Like, ain't nothing like he dropped back in
DS2,
the day. Yeah, it's like that
DS2,
level. Yeah, like
Prime.
that level stuff. hmm But another album that I wanted to shed some light on was The GOAT by Polo G. This the first like full length Polo G album I listened to.
I might as well
Because
say I had this as an honorable mention as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, it's my first time listening to the whole album from him, not like just a single, and it was pretty good. It didn't make my top five. Like some people that I know who like love this album more than me, but
Oscar.
um, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
but it definitely it has a lot of songs that I could tell why people like Polo G a lot. So
Yeah.
that's one of my honorable mentions, and then I have one more.
So he's a good contestant of the rap game of 2020 so far. He's doing
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. He's a very like lyrical person, so I really appreciate that. But he also talks about black excellence. It like reminds me of like back in 2011 when Kanye and Jay-Z talked a lot about racism and black people on Watch the Throne. So it
Mm-hmm.
gives me like those type of vibes, but also like a Tupac meanings type of vibe. But overall, it was just pretty good. But my third best mention, I'm gonna do a slash if that's okay. I'm gonna do Pop Smoke's album Meet the Woo too,
Mm-hmm.
just because like I'll explain that later. But it's gonna be Pop Smoke and then Gunna's album Wanna. I personally like the album a little bit, but it didn't deserve to be my top five.
I don't have another honorable mention, but there is another album that's coming out that I kind of excited for, and that would be Annalie Chopper's upcoming album. He dropped the EP late last year, and it was cool. It wasn't nothing crazy, but I have a couple songs on there that that's pretty good. But it's the first time he dropped an actual full length album. So I got excited for it because he dropped Shot of Full Five last week, I think, and I like that song. So
Well, I guess I can say if I'm looking forward to an album, it would most likely be Lil Keed. Lil Keed has an album coming up. I'm not exactly sure when he's gonna drop it. Kanye West versus Drake. So
like,
I'm gonna be responsible for collecting the songs for Kanye West.
yeah,
Burden is
out
gonna be responsible for Drake.
with Drake, of course. Um,
So when we do the hit for hit battle, it will include features of both types. So the person can be featured on another person's song, but had a big enough impact where it became a hit. And the person can also have like features where other people hop on their song.
Yeah. Um, you want to do any type of like a guideline to for it to be counted as a hit, like some type of
Okay,
certain.
so I'll talk about that right now. A hit is actually something the people know.
Mm,
So
it's like memorable.
yeah, it's like a song like most people know because lots of songs are hits, but they don't make number one on Billboard just because Billboard is so competitive and there
Mm,
are like so much people at one time. So a hit would definitely be something that at least the people know. That
yeah.
if I call a song, someone else could be able to recognize it.
Mm. I know some people do like they have it where a hit is anything that charted on Billboard Hot 100 or
And that
like
wouldn't
any
be fair.
when I compile my list, I'll try to sort out exactly what would be counted as a hit for Drake. Going with how you were saying with like if it's a feature, if it's a big enough impact, then it can be counted as a hit for them. So I know Drake
Yeah.
definitely has he definitely has a lot of those songs. So when I go over Drake's list, I'm gonna see. Oh, and also we'll check to see if there's like a cap on like how much songs we use for the hit for hit, so we could pick
Yeah.
the best ones, not just any. We're gonna try to do it based on more of it being more like memorable and the impact, less than the numbers, because with streaming nowadays, it's pretty easy for the numbers to be kind of skewed.
So, like I was saying earlier, I'm not saying that this generation isn't competitive. I'm just saying that it's easier for someone like Drake, who's been in the game long enough from about like 2010 to still be like relevant 10 years later. Usually, if Drake drops something compared to someone like Playboy Cardi or Lil Uzi Vert, and those are like some pretty big names, most likely Drake is still going to have number one. If
Yeah.
Jay-Z or Lil Wayne drops a song right now, Drake's song is still going to be number one. Like, we all know that's true. Unless like a lot of Jay-Z fans like me buy the song. But no matter what Drake drops, it's going to be number one. So this day and age, it's really hard to classify something as a hit. Very brief episode of BeatLance with K and B. We
Mm-hmm.
want to keep it like this most of the time. We want to keep you guys entertained.
I want to thank you all for watching second episode. Follow our socials at BeatLancePod on Twitter, at BeatLance Podcast on Instagram to stay up to date for whenever we drop in. And thank you for watching. Peace.
Yes, sir.